I'm Melissa Wright in Florence on 30th Street, speaking with neighbors about the changes they want to see when it comes to this road.
The cold air is on its way in. We could even see a few chances for some snow over the next few days, and my forecast all details on any potential travel impacts that we could have over the rest of this Thanksgiving week.
Nebraska's elections will be certified soon, but not everything that voters voice their opinions on will take effect immediately. I'll explain what's next for our ballot measures.
It wasn't a great escape, but it was one where several goat away. I'll give you an update to the havoc-wreaking, hard-to-catch loose goats of Bellevue.
And I'm in Bennington, where following the trail is quite a bit easier than that. I'll show the plans involving the patio trail and when neighbors may see it complete.
Good evening. We appreciate having your company. I'm Mary Nelson. Familiar concerns in North Omaha. This video from just one previous story, May 2022, when neighbors worried about crossing the street with big trucks coming and going. That year, MAPA finished its Highway 75 corridor and freight strategy study. The next steps involved more studies and looking at issues like funding. With a handful of solutions on the table, nothing's changed yet, including the everyday dangers.
I'm Melissa Wright in Florence, speaking with neighbors about the safety issues on 30th Street. They tell me with there only being a few stoplights along this stretch of road, the speeding is an issue. It's not just the speeding cars, but large rumbling trucks that have neighbors worried.
They come off the interstate and they are zipping. Probably my concern more than anything is the speed that people can come, because you have a traffic light that's down north of here, and all that is it's a pedestrian light.
Daycare Crayon Castle sits on 30th and Tucker. Inside, children from preschool to grade school. The owner, Jackie Casey, says inside the building, the kids are safe, but outside, she's extra cautious when going on field trips or walks with the children.
We try every once in a while, but it just gets to the point where you're walking across that street and it's like, oh man.
Just a few blocks down from the Crayon Castle, Harold's Coffee House. The coffee shop sits on State and 30th, nearly under the traffic light.
Does it really make a difference?
I find that it doesn't make a difference. If anything, I find cars just speed up more to make the light.
Matthew Swoboda at the coffee house says from his perspective, it's easy to count the number of times that cars actually drive the speed limit.
It seems like people slow down when it's snowy out or when it's rainy, but as soon as those conditions dry up, we're going as fast as we possibly can.
2 years ago, we reported that the Metropolitan Area Planning Agency was working to bring solutions to lessen the speeding and traffic in the area. MAPA wrapped up its study in 2023. I reached out to MAPA today, and a representative told me they are still gathering data and working with other organizations to make sure improvements are made to the area.
Nothing else counts but their safety. And that's kind of what I'd like to see the attitude taken for our community. Yeah, just to get across the street.
Neighbors tell me they would like to see more street lights, crosswalks, or pedestrian bridges to help with the safety of the neighbors who live and work in this neighborhood. In Florence, I'm Melissa Wright.
And a check of our forecast as we get into your Tuesday evening and Tuesday night. Right now, skies partly and mostly cloudy. We have a few snow flurries trying to form up over parts of Iowa. The air is indeed cold enough for that kind of thing now, as we're going to be down into the teens and 20s for overnight temperatures over the next several nights. Yes, you heard me right. Teens and 20s for temperatures at night over the next few days. Right now, skies, again, partly cloudy outside, and the wind's still with us here at this hour, too. 40 is your current temperature over the airport with a south wind at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. 40 feels more like 33 at this hour. Right now, things are pretty quiet at this time. That south wind still with us, but out to our west, the wind is out from the west and northwest. And that north wind will start to pick up overnight and into Wednesday and Thursday. So temperatures, as you would assume, will go down and down. Right now, most of us are in the upper 30s. Again, doesn't quite feel like it because of the wind outside. It kind of feels like we're around freezing. It feels maybe as cold as 29 degrees up in Wayne. Here's a look look at that evening forecast. Partly cloudy and chilly this evening. Temperatures will be right around freezing for the 8 and 9 o'clock hours. It could be down near about 25 degrees by tomorrow morning, and then Thanksgiving Day, even colder than that. Plus, I'm looking at some snow chances for the days after Thanksgiving Day. I'll have the track on that, and I'll let you know if we have any travel impacts associated with it. It's all up ahead in my forecast.
The call came out a little after 10:30 a.m. of a water rescue near 86th and Frederick. Well, first responders got to that section of the Big Papio Creek and didn't find any people in the water, but there was a car. And we were there as it was pulled out. Omaha police tell us they believe the car was stolen and ditched.
Hi, I'm Katrina Markle in the studio with an update on a shocking child abuse case I've been following since July. It was discovered that a child was allegedly being kept overnight in a makeshift cage. And we've got some updates on this, so I'd like to share some of those. The 4-year-old child was found wandering in the street at the end of July in Hamburg, Iowa. Following an investigation, Fremont County deputies then charged the father, Dustin Perry, and the mother, Lindsay Hamilton, with felony child abuse in Fremont County and misdemeanors in Page County, where they actually live. They lived in Shenandoah. This child was found outside the grandparents' house. So now we have the paternal grandparents, Elvin Culley and Martha Perry Culley. Elvin Culley was just sentenced to probation on Monday, and due to his age and some health concerns, he will only be serving probation. Martha Culley has a trial date set that won't happen until spring. On the Page County side, maternal grandparents William and Shawnee Hamilton, they pleaded guilty to misdemeanor charges of child endangerment. They were also charged with animal abuse and neglect, but those charges have since been dropped. Another aspect of the case, this 4-year-old had siblings and there were other children in the household with the maternal grandparents and the parents in Shenandoah. I'm working to confirm with authorities how those kids are doing and if they're still in state custody. In the studio, I'm Katrina Markle.
I'm John Brown, and I've been talking about this abandoned hotel for the last few months. And on Tuesday, I wanted to find out what Douglas County officials thought of this building. Douglas County Assessor Walt Peffer tells me he thinks this building is a prime candidate of something that needs to be demolished. Douglas County Assessor Walt Peffer says he supports the demolition of the abandoned Westmont Inn and Suites because of its poor condition, including broken windows, overgrown weeds, and graffiti.
And the condition of the property is deplorable.
Peffer's office reports the hotel's assessed value has dropped from 2023 at $1.6 million to 2024 at $859,000. Peffer says this property is a unique problem.
As an assessor, do you see properties like this all the time?
No, we do not.
Because of its ongoing issues, Peffer's team will assess the condition of the building next month. I've also uncovered that the property owners have not paid their property taxes in the second half of 2021, 2022, and 2023. There has been a tax lien since March 2023. The Douglas County Treasurer's Office tells me that if the tax lien is not paid off in 3 years, the property could be foreclosed on. While the county and the city are forced to navigate a sometimes complicated series of steps before demolition can take place, neighbors like Cameron Ram are forced to continue living next to the abandoned hotel for now.
It could definitely be turned into something more valuable to the community rather than just sitting there abandoned.
I'll continue to follow this story. I'm John Brown, your West Omaha neighborhood reporter.
Newsflash, the airport is busy. Hey, that's true at every airport in America right now, but we stopped by Epley for what's one of the busiest days for air travel of this Thanksgiving holiday period. If you have an early flight on Southwest Airlines, do be aware that Southwest tends to schedule staff to start a bit later than other airlines. You're advised to arrive a minimum of 2 hours before your departure time, no matter who you're flying with. And as always, you can check your flight status at flyoma.com. Holiday travel, while stressful, has one thing going for it. You always know where you're going. It's less straightforward after an election, and not just with winning candidates, but the issues.
You voted for it, but when does it become law? I'm Alex Whitney, laying out when you can expect to see everything from paid sick leave to medicinal cannabis take effect. The first step to these measures becoming law was to vote on them. Now the next step is certification. That's when the canvassing board, consisting of the governor, secretary of state, attorney general, state auditor, and state treasurer, come together to certify the results. Once they certify them, Governor Jim Pillen will have 10 days to issue a proclamation on how many votes were cast on each measure. Once the proclamation is issued, the measures become law. So unless there is any certification issues between December 2nd and December 12th, all but one of the ballot measures will go into effect. That means that right away, LB 1402, the bill giving private schools $10 million annually, will be repealed. All remaining funds in that program will be returned to the legislature. Employees will start earning 1 hour of paid sick time for every 30 hours worked. Depending on business size, this means employees can earn up to 40 hours of paid sick leave for small companies and up to 56 for large employers. A new 12-week constitutional abortion ban will also take effect immediately. If it chooses to, the legislature may also implement further bans. Opponents of the measure have promised to continue to fight for reproductive rights, but this measure cannot be repealed until after the November 2026 election. Now, things get a little more complicated when it comes to cannabis. If it is certified, then some protections will be implemented immediately and others will require further regulation. Immediately after Governor Pillen issues his proclamation, Nebraskans will be able to possess up to 5 ounces of cannabis with the written recommendation of a healthcare professional. But getting the medicinal cannabis to Nebraskans will take more time. A new medical cannabis commission must first be created. That will be headed by members of Nebraska's Liquor Control Commission. Then by July 1st, the commission must establish the criteria for registered cannabis establishments. And by October 1st, they must begin granting those registrations, meaning it will likely be months before Nebraskans can purchase medicinal cannabis in the state.
Neighbors in Bellevue may have seen a herd of goats running around the city since October. In Bellevue, I'm Greta Gady speaking with Animal Control about where the goats are now. I'm Greta Gady, your Sarpy County neighborhood reporter in Bellevue, where goats have been seen running around the city since October. Well, neighbors may be wondering, where are the goats now? I was actually able to meet one of the little goats that have spent weeks evading capture from law enforcement. This kid ran from law enforcement for over a month. Now he's locked up in a pen at the Nebraska Humane Society.
Between 6 and 8 times we got called down there for these goats.
The 100-pound pygmy goat, now named Barnabas, and his herd of 3 others caused chaos in Bellevue, running in front of traffic and ramming into cars at this car lot near 25th and Chandler. Video from October 16th shows Barnabas and his accomplice running around the Corwin Toyota dealership.
We were never successful outside of the one that we captured just because there's no way to corner them. They wouldn't let us get close. We did deploy a tranquilizer rifle with one of our veterinarians in hopes maybe we could sedate them a little bit and capture them, but they were so skittish we could not get close enough.
BPD and Animal Control caught Barnabas last week. So Tuesday, I went to meet the goat that has become the talk of the town. I grew up with goats and I thought I could get him to give me the scoop. Normally goats like this are friendly, but Barnabas was still a little skittish, and I couldn't get too close. As for the other 3,
we have no idea where the other ones have gone. We haven't had a call on them for several days now, so hopefully they went back home.
While the police say they don't have any more questions, one big one still remains. Where are his owners? Barnabas is currently up for adoption at the Nebraska Humane Society. In Bellevue, I'm Greta Gady, your Sarpy County neighborhood reporter.
All right, well, we'll look at our forecast as we get into this Tuesday evening. Skies will be partly to mostly cloudy for the next few hours, and temperatures will start to drop down to near freezing. 32 will be your temperature by the 9 o'clock hour, and with that little bit of breeze outside, it'll definitely feel like it outside, too. 3 things to know for your forecast, and it looks like the wind is going to be a little chilly tomorrow. Still, though, no travel issues expected for tomorrow or for Thanksgiving Day. That's good news for us, but it does look to be a cold Thanksgiving before we get into some light snow chances Friday night and into the day. It looks like for Saturday morning. Okay, the temperature change compared to yesterday at this hour. It's anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees warmer outside than yesterday at this time. So we did warm up a little bit today, up to around 43 degrees, both in Fremont, Omaha, and in Red Oak, all of which a couple of degrees cooler than average for this time of the year. Average highs now are around about 45 degrees. And we will be anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees colder than that by the time we get into your weekend. We'll be at 35 on Thanksgiving Day. today, down into the upper 20s. We likely will not make it out of the 20s on Saturday or on Sunday. So it's time. It's time for the cold weather, unfortunately, to move in. I finally broke down and I just turned the heat on here earlier today just because of how cold it's been here recently, and it's just going to get colder and colder as the week goes on. Right now, skies mostly cloudy outside, some snow flurries out to our east of Omaha. None of that's actually reaching the ground, but Futurecast does have the clouds sticking with us through the nighttime hours. Some little pockets of snow flurries down near the Kansas and Nebraska border early into Wednesday morning. By the time we get into Wednesday afternoon and Thursday afternoon, the skies start to open up. We're back into sunshine, which is good news for us. Thanksgiving Day right now looking cold to start out the day. 20 for the morning temperature, which is probably fine. It'll give you a chance to open up a window if the kitchen's getting too warm. But by the afternoon, we only get to 35 degrees. And by the time you're into Thursday evening for Thanksgiving evening, temperatures will be down again into the 20s. But so far, it looks like Wednesday and Thursday, no travel issues expected. Also Friday, no travel issues as of now either, but Friday night into Saturday, there will be a chance for some light snow from central into southeastern Nebraska. So here's the latest thinking on this. Friday night through Saturday morning, there could be maybe up to an inch of snow from the Tri-Cities through parts of southwest and south Lincoln through southeastern Nebraska, from Nebraska City on down to Falls City, and then even into northwestern Missouri. Some things I am seeing, though, in the computer model data are that the models are in disagreement. One model wants the snow here. The other model wants it way out into parts of Iowa. So there's some pretty big disagreement in the data that we use to forecast with. I think that's going to lead to some minimal travel impacts, at least for now, expected. But right now, it looks like mainly an inch of that powdery snow as temperatures will be down in the teens once we get into Friday night and Saturday morning. So just keep that in mind for now. Mostly cloudy tonight, some snow flurries. To our south, temperatures will be around 27 for tomorrow morning. In your forecast for Wednesday, mostly cloudy in the morning, some afternoon sunshine. Tomorrow's high gets back to near 40 degrees. So Thanksgiving Day right now looking just cold. A mostly sunny day with some clouds in the afternoon. Temperatures on Thanksgiving at 35. We're at 30 on Friday. Again, no real big snow out of this system that we get Friday night through Saturday, but it's going to be a cold weekend regardless. Temperatures will be in the upper 20s for Saturday and Sunday.
The Westside football team played a strong game for the championship title, but fell short. Their coach, Paul Lamongi, sidelined by a hospital stay. We checked today and are told that he and the team are in touch, and the whole Westside community is wishing him the best.
The Creighton men's basketball team tries to get back on track out in Vegas. That story and more next in sports.
And that's a great sign.
It is the final night of the high school football season. We are in Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. From the hot days of August to now the cold November nights, it all comes down to this. The grand finale this evening, the Class B final between Bennington and Scott Catholic. The Badgers enter this one as the three-time defending state champs, but Bennington had its Class B record 46-game winning streak snapped by the Skyhawks just over a month ago, 38-30. Matt Turman's team, meanwhile, trying to win its sixth state title in program history and first in 5 years. Kickoff here in the capital city set for 7:15 on Nebraska Public Media. Meanwhile, the Class C1 title game earlier today between Wahoo and Central City. Scoreless in the second until the Warriors land in 5. Finds this one into his lap on the lateral. He laps it up and takes it back 32 yards for the touchdown. 14-zip Wahoo at the break. Third quarter, Warriors now up 20-7. Jace Kaminsky deep to Case and Christian. The 48-yard touchdown. Wahoo wins just its second state title ever, 47-7. The Class C2 title game today between Bishop Neumann and Norfolk Catholic. Second quarter Cavs strike first. NU recruit Connor Booth, 6-yard touchdown, tying the 11-man state record with his 50th score of the season. 6-0 Newman, but the Knights have the answer. Colin Marshall going to find Trevin Suckup for the 9-yard touchdown, part of a 27-0 run as Norfolk Catholic claims the crown 27-13. Meanwhile, the Nebraska football team now just 3 days away from its Black Friday showdown against Iowa. Iowa native Thomas Fedoni had significantly fewer snaps than fellow tight ends Luke Lindenmeyer and Nate Borkacher in that win over Wisconsin. Today, new NU OC Dana Holgerson explained.
Took that approach at every position. I mean, I know everybody wants to talk about the tight end position because of what happened on Saturday, but that's been the case at every single position. It's about competition. Competition makes people better, and so we're trying to develop competition at every single position. I don't care who's played or who's the starter. If you're not performing at the level I need you to perform at, based on what looks like in practice, then we're going to change it.
Game time Friday night set for 6:30. The 21st ranked Creighton men's basketball team taking on San Diego State out in Vegas today. Early first half, Jackson McAndrew drills it from deep. CU up by 3 early. Later in the first, more from the Jays in the form of Pop Isaacs. 2 of his game-high 18 points. But it would not be enough as Creighton has now lost back-to-back games. The final in this one, 71-53. Also today, Creighton's Kendra Waite named the Big East Setter and Player of the Year for the second season in a row. And Creighton head coach Kirsten Bernthal Booth named the Big East Coach of the Year. We are now less than an hour away of kickoff between Bennington and Scott Catholic. Some of the teams out here already taking warm-ups. That's going to do it for now. Reporting live in Lincoln, Adam Kruger, 3 News Now Sports.
Hiking and walking in Bennington is about to get easier. I'm Jill Lampkins, your Bennington reporter on 156th Street, where soon a new trail system here and along the Big Papio Creek will help neighbors travel safer.
Summit Carbon Solutions continues to move forward with efforts to build a carbon capture pipeline through 5 Midwestern states, including Iowa. I'm Southwest Iowa neighborhood reporter Katrina Markle. Summit already received permits in Iowa and North Dakota to build the base scope, sometimes called Phase 1 of its carbon capture pipeline. On November 19th, Summit applied to the South Dakota Public Utility Commission for a permit. The pipeline would move liquefied CO2, that is a byproduct of ethanol production, from plants in states like Iowa to permanent underground storage in North Dakota. In October, South Dakota's Supreme Court rejected Summit's argument that carbon dioxide should be considered a commodity like oil or electricity. Without it, the company can't use eminent domain to build its pipeline. That ruling isn't final, though. Summit can still pursue getting that common carrier status in South Dakota. Summit maintains that it prefers to obtain voluntary participation from landowners. In the meantime, its construction permit in Iowa is on the condition that permits are first issued in North and South Dakota. Katrina Markle, your Southwest Iowa reporter.
I'm Jill Lampkins, your Bennington reporter, using the sidewalk on 156th Street to get out of downtown to the Heritage neighborhood just to the south. But the sidewalk ends here. Now a new trail system is coming to the area so neighbors can stay more connected. If you ask John Shelburne and his family, there's a lot in downtown Bennington that makes it worth the trip. When the weather is nicer, they like to ride their bikes or walk.
Stumble in, we go there a lot for dinner. Cup and cone, we love coffee. Runza, we like to go up to Runza.
But without a paved path from their neighborhood to downtown, walking along 156th Street can be dangerous.
You know, a lot of distracted drivers with cell phones, and it is a 45-mile-an-hour highway, so they do come down that highway pretty fast.
On November 12th, he told city council members he believes it's time for a safer way for people to get around the community.
I'd love to be able to use the library more and let the kids kind of explore.
Shelburne's words helping to convince local leaders to direct $2 million in grant money to connect the neighborhood south of Bennington Road to downtown along the Big Papio Creek into a future youth sports complex. The Metropolitan Area Planning Agency awards the grant that is funded through the federal government.
So we are currently on an existing trail system in Bennington.
I talked to Bennington Mayor Zach Johns about what this means for the growing community.
It's going to give us the things that we desire for our community to have the amenities that we need. It's going to give us a stronger local economy, and it's going to give us tax relief in our property taxes.
I know neighbors will be excited in the Heritage, and we'll be able to connect even more, I think, with the downtown community.
Building a stronger community by making more connections. Construction is slated for 2028, a ways away for neighbors, but John says his family will remain patient and happy just knowing it's coming. On 156th Street, I'm Jill Lampkins, your Bennington reporter.
Bennington, one of the neighborhoods Jill reports from. Essentially, she covers the area north of Dodge and east of 680. To share story ideas, call or send her an email. We want to make it easy to get in touch.
If you're going through your pantry and find something that's past its use by or sell by date, don't throw it away. I'm Molly Hudson at the Timberlake Outreach Center, where the Open Door Mission team is working to address hunger and food waste. The need rising as the price of food increases. Candace Gregory with the Open Door Mission says inflation and shrinkflation are impacting people in ways that are obvious and ways that aren't. She says her organization has seen a 30% increase in food cost. Combine that with more people struggling to make ends meet, and everyone is feeling stretched thin.
At the same time, we are seeing an increase in services of about 10%, and our donations are down by 7%. So that's because people, again, don't have as much discretionary income to give.
In addition to normal food donations, Open Door Mission will now accept and distribute food that is past its sell-by or use-by date. Gregory says they make people aware of the dates as they come through and allow them to choose the food they decide to take home.
When you see the number of families and individuals coming in to get goods, does that concern you and how it is impacting our community?
In the last 29 years, I have not seen the increase like this fall that we have seen, so I'm super concerned about Christmas.
And because of the number of people they serve, over 4,700 meals on any given day, the food gets used quickly. At the Timberlake Outreach Center, I'm Molly Hudson, your neighborhood reporter.
And a check of your forecast as we get into your Tuesday evening. Once again, temperatures this evening will be down in the low 30s, near freezing by 8 and 9 o'clock. And the wind will start to pick up overnight and into tomorrow. The rain and snow chance over the next few days. It looks like right now for Thanksgiving Day, things should be pretty quiet, both for Wednesday and Thursday. No travel issues expected. Also for Friday, no travel issues expected there, but we could see some light snow Friday night into the early morning on Saturday. Get ready for cold weather. It's on its way in. And it's going to be about 20 degrees colder than average over the weekend. There's a good chance we do not make it out of the 20s this weekend.
Well, this week isn't the first time that President-elect Trump has threatened tariff increases. But what's notable is how steep the hikes could be and how sweeping they could be on America's three biggest trading partners. Joe St. George reports on the impacts on us and our money.
President-elect Donald Trump has announced a major new policy change. On day one of his presidency, he wants new tariffs on China, Mexico, and Canada. So how might this impact your pocketbook? As a reminder, a tariff is essentially a tax on goods imported from another country. Trump wants a 10% new tariff on goods coming from China and a 25% tariff on goods coming from Mexico and Canada. China, Mexico, and Canada are three of America's largest trading partners. Many electronics come from China, many cars from Canada. In grocery stores, many food items come from Mexico. On social media, President-elect Trump said that, quote, this tariff will remain in effect until such time as drugs, in particular fentanyl, and all illegal aliens stop this invasion of our country. Leaders at Walmart have already said that new tariffs could potentially increase the costs of some items in their stores. A former economist for President Biden estimates that Americans would end up paying around $1,000 extra each year if these tariffs go forward. And if is an important part of the story. It's possible if the president-elect could change his mind between now and Inauguration Day, if Canada, Mexico, and China are able to convince him otherwise. China's spokesman in the U.S. did post online, quote, no one will win a trade war or a tariff war. This is not the first time that President-elect Trump has threatened a tariff hike. He did so frequently during his first administration, and in some cases, he did not follow through on that threat. It's also possible that a legal challenge could block any new tariff. Joe St. George, Scripps News, Washington.
With talk of tariffs, shares of General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler owner Stellantis all tumbled. GM suffered the steepest drop, down about 9% by market close. Trump said he would impose the tariff on his first day in office, triggering investor concerns over supply chains that rely on both Mexico and Canada for parts and production. Parts sometimes pass through all three North American countries before car is fully made and sold. A different campaign promise, mass deportations, now one step closer to reality. Trump's team accepting a land offer from Texas on the southern border between the U.S. and Mexico, intended for facilities to process migrants out of the country. Incoming border czar Thomas Homan was at the border wall construction kickoff, and here's the land commissioner for the state of Texas.
A facility here will be the final stop for processing before these violent criminals are deported. This will reduce the burden on our local jails and keep our Texas children safer.
The 1,400-acre site is just the latest addition for the Texas Land Office, which now has more than 4,000 acres at the border. The Texas Land Commissioner said that under a new program called the Jocelyn Initiative, the state will locate and lease additional land for migrant detention centers. A flurry of excitement at a Ralston school. Up next, the scoop on a naming contest. NDOT visiting Meadows Elementary today to announce 2 of the winning entries in this year's Name a Snowplow contest. Creative kids from all over Nebraska sent in suggestions, fun names, silly names, whatever they could come up with, hoping to name one of the more than 600 snowplows that operate across the state. The contest was open to kindergarten through 6th grade, and the winning names revealed today: Pond Snowlow and Up to Snow Good. A lot of fun for those winning kids and the folks from NDOT.
Isn't that cool? It's really fun. This is we've done it for 4 years, and this is the 3rd year that somebody from Ralston has won, and this is, I believe, the 2nd year that somebody from Meadows Elementary has won. So we're really excited to bring our trucks out here and show all the kids, you know, how big they actually are up close, and I think it's really good for the kids to see it.
A 3rd student will be announced next Monday at Bloomfield Elementary. The prize, a miniature snowplow with the winning name on it.
Here's a look at our Super 7-day forecast and 3 things to know in the forecast going forward for Thanksgiving week. Right now, chilly Wednesday, but no travel issues expected tomorrow or Thursday for Thanksgiving Day. It's just going to be very cold outside. Temperatures on Thanksgiving will be down into the 20s and low 30s. And we have chances for snow Friday night into Saturday. I think our first snow for some neighborhoods this upcoming season here for us over the weekend. Right now, things just mostly cloudy outside, just a few passing clouds. Nothing measurable outside if we're seeing any precipitation. Right now, it looks like things are pretty quiet. We might be seeing, though, a couple of snow flurries out over parts of Iowa. Futurecast has a clear, mostly cloudy sky, I should say, heading into tomorrow morning. Some pockets of snow flurries down to our south. That'll all clear up pretty quickly into Wednesday afternoon. We do get back into some sunshine. Temperatures don't warm up a lot, but we should be back up to hopefully 40 tomorrow afternoon before the cold weather starts to set in right in time for Thanksgiving Day. 11 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day morning. Things will be still pretty cold outside, but it looks like morning cooking, around 20 degrees in the morning, 30 at noon, 35 in the afternoon on Thanksgiving Day. By the time we get into the evening, things will start to cool off again. Now, we do have a chance for some snow Friday night into early Saturday morning. Right now, it looks like the latest data shows it'll start out in parts of eastern and central Nebraska and then kind of work its way into Missouri toward Kansas City. There are some disagreements between the models, or I should say there is disagreement between the computer models we use to forecast with. But right now, any of this accumulating snow would be around an inch or less. Minimal travel impacts are expected out of this at this time, which is good news for us. But a little bit of snow could be possible over the early part of your weekend. Mostly cloudy tonight, some snow flurries to our south. 27 will be that temperature by tomorrow morning. We're up to 40 tomorrow afternoon. 35 we drop to on Thanksgiving Day. We're down to 30 on Friday. And we're even colder, maybe not even out of the 20s this weekend.
Short days, tight pants, warding off winter weight gain. That's ahead. About 7.5 million Americans could get access to pricey obesity drugs. The Biden administration has a plan to expand Medicare and Medicaid coverage for the likes of Ozempic and Wegovy. For some, out-of-pocket costs could drop by 95%. But it's unclear if that'll happen before Biden leaves office in January. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tapped to lead the next Department of Health and Human Services. In the past, he's been against these weight loss drugs. Staying active and eating well are keys to good health, but this time of year, the holidays, the cooler weather combined can derail our goals. Mandy Gaither's looking at winter fitness.
The days are shorter, the temperatures colder, and it can make staying healthy harder.
So really going into the winter season with a game plan so that we don't put on 10 pounds during the holidays.
Dr. Keisha Davis with the American Academy of Family Physicians says hone in on what you eat. She says to avoid fad diets and focus on fruits and veggies, which is harder in colder months, but still doable.
It's time to kind of switch to the sweet potatoes, the winter kales, those other vegetables that really sustain us for the winter. And I would remind folks that getting healthy fruits and vegetables frozen is a great option.
Motivation to exercise can wane in colder temperatures, but Davis says it's still important to be active. She suggests switching up when you exercise to earlier, lighter times of day. Davis says it's also important to designate a time to be active each day. Routines can help keep you on track. And she says to be prepared to work exercise in.
Maybe it's just walking around your home or apartment complex. Maybe it's walking up and down the stairs. Maybe it's doing just some chair yoga. There are so many free videos that you can find on the internet that will just make sure that you are moving, staying active.
Davis says exercise during darker, colder months can also improve mental health, but she says it's also important to stay connected to others.
This is also an opportunity to build community, come close to the folks that you know and love.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
At KMTV, we are again partnering with the Salvation Army and Jensen Tire and Auto to collect toys during the holiday season. And we ask you to join us. Drop off new unwrapped gifts at all Jensen Tire and Auto locations around Omaha, Council Bluffs, Bellevue, Fremont, and Lincoln. Donations are accepted until December 6th. You'll find more information along with the list of gift ideas. If you don't know what kids these days want, you're covered. Visit 3newsnow.com. Dictionary.com took a mindful approach in naming the 2024 Word of the Year. It analyzed social media trends, headlines, your searches, and words that were taken offline and then into everyday dialogue. The word demure, or behavior that's discreet or reserved, used this year in a new way by an influencer on TikTok who described herself as very demure, very mindful. The phrase went viral. Other top contenders for Word of the Year: brain rot, brat, and of particular interest to us at KMTV, extreme weather, and Midwest nice.
All right, a look at our forecast for tonight. Mostly cloudy outside. Some snow flurries could be possible tonight as temperatures will be down near 27 degrees, and it just gets colder and colder as the week goes on. We're around about 40, 45 today. We'll only get to around 40 tomorrow afternoon once the sunshine starts to return back to our skies. We'll be partly to mostly sunny for Thanksgiving Day. A cold one for us, a high of only 35 on Thursday, 30 on Friday. We have a chance for about an inch of snow Friday night through Saturday morning, and then it's just cold over the weekend. We do not get out of the 20s this weekend, but we do starting next week.
That brings us to the end of 3 News Now at 6. We all look forward to seeing you back here at 10. Take care.